All right, so here we go. For this one right here, this is going to be doing the directions of the calculator stuff that I actually hadn't had an opportunity to get to in class with you guys yet. So this is just kind of covering that idea. So what I've got here, um, is just going to be cosine x plus 1/3 is less than or equal to 0. If you and I were to take this and solve this, if I did cosine x, I'd have to subtract 1/3 from both sides, and I would just get negative 1/3. Well, cosine x never equals 1/3 on our unit circle. Doesn't mean it never equals it. It just means that I don't know the exact value of where that's at. So that's going to be something that's going to require us to be able to put that in our calculator. So what we're going to do in order to enter something like this in our calculator is we're going to go ahead and pull it up on our calculator. And then when we do that, we go into y equals over here on the top left side, and we're going to enter both of the things that I see in here for the equation. So if I look at this right here, I have on the left side cosine x plus 1/3, and on the right side I have 0. I'm going to set those both up as the two equations that I'm putting in here. So you see I've got cosine x plus 1/3, and I have 0 as the other equation. Before I graph it, the next thing that I need to do is I need to look at the window that I have in here, and I need to set my x values to be whatever the domain is that I'm given initially. So in here, I'm looking for the values of x between 0 and 2 pi. So I'm literally enter 0 and 2 pi right here. Oops, sorry, wrong spot. 2 pi. But that's what I would put right down here would be 2 pi. Easy. It fills that in and puts the decimal there. Then I'm going to think about my y-axis. You know, you kind of just need to make sure that you have everything included in it. And in this particular case, with this equation, if I think about what I've done with the graph, it's cosine, which normally has a range from -1 to 1. All I've done is just shifted it up 1/3. So instead of just making it from -1 to 1, I'm going to do -1 to 2. And that's going to make sure to hit everything that I need in there. So if I do -1 to 2, I should be fine. And now if I hit graph, I've got both of those equations graphed right here. Now, I can go ahead and a lot of you probably know about the trace feature on here, but that's not what I'm going to do. Instead, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit second calc, which is the trace button. So I'm going to go ahead and do second trace. And you see down there on number 5, it says intersect. I'm going to hit enter on that. All right, so now if you look here, it says on the bottom of your screen, it says first curve. And that's the one that it's highlighted right now. So that's going to be that cosine graph. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on my calculator. And then it goes second curve. So it's taking me to the second equation that I entered in. I'm going to hit enter on there. Okay, now what it's wanting me to do is guess where is the intersection. So I'm going to scroll along until I get close to the intersection, and I'm going to hit enter. And then it tells me where that intersection is. That intersection is at x equals 1.9106. So I'm going to do 1.911. So that right there is one of my solutions. So I would have x is equal to 1. And I've already forgotten what it was. 911. I should know that. Okay, 911. All right. And then my other value that I'm looking for here is the other time it intersects. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do second trace intersect. And again, I'm just going to make sure that I have the first curve selected, second curve selected, and now I'm going to go over here to the other intersection and get kind of close to it and hit enter. And it tells me that that's at 4.373. So I've got x is equal to 4.373. Okay. So those are my values that I have here, and now I've got to actually answer the question and write my interval. This tells me that it's looking for when cosine is less than or equal to. So basically what I'm looking for is I'm going to be looking at all the areas that are right here below that x-axis, okay? So that means I'm looking for everything in between these two spots. So my answer is just going to be from 1.911 to 4.373, and I am including both of those answers, okay? And that's it. That's all I got to do for that one. I'm done. Hooray! Last question. There's absolutely zero chance you guys are as excited as I am. Okay, so what I have here on this one, it says it's a challenge. I'm trying to figure out when is sine less than cosine between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, well, let's try it out. So let's go ahead and draw those functions as we know them. So if I go ahead and do that, and give me a quick second to do that. Okay, so there we go. I've got both cosine and sine drawn between 0 and 2 pi. And what I need to know is when is sine less than cosine. So if I'm comparing these graphs here, I have all of my sine values right here are less than cosine because they're below that graph right there. So I've got those. And then I've got my sine values here. So here my y values are still going to be greater than, but here is where we cross again, and those values are going to be less than again, okay? So now let's go ahead and solve this. This is not using a calculator, okay? So what I've got here on this particular problem is these two right here. I've got to figure out, obviously I know this is going to be 0, just like I know this is going to be 2 pi right here. I've got to figure out what in the world do I have right here? Well, if you think about it, what I'm showing here, where these two graphs intersect, is where they are the same exact values. Where does that happen on your unit circle? Where do sine and cosine have the exact same values? At pi over 4, and again at 5 pi over 4. They're going to be square root 2 over 2 in pi over 4, and negative square root 2 over 2 at 5 pi over 4. And that's what I've got. So my answer right here is just going to be between 0 to pi over 4, not including pi over 4 because it is just less than, union 5 pi over 4 to 2 pi. And that's it. I'm done. So that's what we've got here. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This stuff is challenging, but you'll get it with practice. You have to practice it a lot. I feel awful that I'm not here to teach you guys this today, but I hope that you guys can watch the videos 872,000 times before it makes sense, and you're able to do it. I'll be there on Monday to answer your questions and to help you out, okay? Believe me, I would much rather be at school today getting through the day with you guys as opposed to doing what I'm doing today, okay? So hopefully you guys are doing well, and I will see you on Monday.